Welcome back to the Code Yellow podcast, where we talk about relationships from the lens of scripture and good old common sense. And we are on the road to 1,000 YouTube subscribers. We've already crossed 100, but just join the train and subscribe if you like what we bring. Zav, what you got for us?
All right. So me and Jasmine have conversations all the time, and I think she tries to give a gender to, what is it that you try to give a gender to?
No,
numbers?
Numbers and letters.
Yeah, numbers and letters.
To me.
It's very, I was just like, what? Who did I marry?
I feel like Sesame Street has an influence.
Okay, no, that is true.
Yeah.
That is true. Big ups to the Sesame Seed babies. Yeah. All right. So the icebreaker question for today is: if you could be any color, what color would you be and why? Devin.
The first color that pops into my head is blue. I like to be calm and collected, but blue has a lot of, intensity to it, depending on which flavor of blue you're talking about. So,
Feeling blue.
yeah.
Okay.
True blue.
Yeah.
Back the blue. Nah.
That's crazy.
Annie.
I was thinking brown, only because like it's like neutral. It just goes well with things, anything. So I was like, I fit into like a lot of categories of friends. So I was like, okay,
I like that.
I think I'm like a neutral, like a brown or beige.
Okay. Yes.
I'm gonna say yellow. Yellow because it can be bright and cherry, and then it looks great with brown. Like it looks good on like pretty much all skin tones, and then because it's a primary color, it can mix well to make other colors. So like you said, like the mixing with others, and yeah.
I like that.
What would my color be? I think my color would be probably gold. You know what I mean? Just like gold is just that like boom. And I feel like I'm kind of like that. Boom.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes. So I'm gonna be gold.
Okay.
That's my color.
I like that.
Okay.
We love it. So we're going to jump straight into our topic today. We are on part 5 of our 7 Deadly Sins series. And today we are covering sloth.
Dun, dun, dun. Wait, Sloth the animal? We're going to talk about an animal on our relationship podcast today?
Well, human beings are animals and they can be slothful.
Okay.
Right. So I can't stop thinking about the sloth in Zootopia. That was just it's like my favorite animal movie scene.
Would you all judge me if I told you I never saw that movie?
Yes, it's really good. We're
No,
gonna watch
we're not judging you. We just feel really sorry.
Right. It's a good movie.
Okay. So there are some cool Bible verses about sloth, about laziness. We have the classic Proverbs, go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. And then we have Colossians 3 verse 23, which says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. So when it comes to doing things and relationships always involve doing something in some capacity for somebody. Maybe yourself, maybe the other person. But how does sloth start to creep in and throw things off?
The first thought that came to my mind is, unfortunately, this happens a lot of times. You get comfortable in a relationship and you're just like, I'm super comfortable. And you get so comfortable that you kind of like not let yourself go, but let yourself go in the fact of like, I got her or I got him already. Like I don't have to keep a clean house, or if you all are married, of course, and living together, it's just, like she ain't gonna do it, I ain't gonna do it. It's just like, you just don't care or whatnot. And I think sometimes that comfortability factor plays a part. And I've seen it in relationships before, and you can't even blame it on children all the time. Sometimes it's just people, and people get busy lives or whatnot. And, we've talked about maybe last season, like being self-aware and being accountable. It's like, if you have the funds to like get a maid or whatnot, so that just that area of your life, the laziness, because we all have days where, I've had times where, I was really going through it, and my apartment looked like Who Shot John and Why, right?
Yeah.
Never when my girl came over. Like, I wasn't that dude. Nah, not playing those games.
Yeah.
But, life happens. So this is not an indictment on like, yo, man, you just going through a crazy season right now.
Right.
But, let's be thoughtful and, hire a maid or call somebody in your community, because people will be willing to help you out. I just know you call Jasmine, she gonna be like, what you need? Let me help organize.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
we can't get too comfortable in our relationships.
I was just thinking too, when you mention relationships, not just so much like the physical, like the tangibleness of cleaning and
Right.
keeping that way, but potentially being slothful in your effort of your relationship.
I was thinking
you know,
the
how
same.
you're tending to
Yeah.
the person in your relationship, and you know, that could look a myriad of ways. But I'm just thinking about the effort and not putting in, you know, for whatever reason or what. Or relative to what it could be, whether you came in strong and, you know, like you mentioned, getting comfortable. So that was the first thing I thought about, spending time, or, you know, the level of vulnerability in the relationship, the effort of maybe the dating aspect, like the pursuit the pursuit in the relationship. And that could definitely be detrimental. Yeah.
So I'm gonna kind of throw a little question to get you guys thinking a little bit, because we're talking about sloth. We kind of in the realm of laziness, right? But what if there are deeper layers other than something's going on this time, so I'm kind of down or whatever? Or what if there are other deeper things going on emotionally, mentally for that person that makes them appear slothful, but it's something else?
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking the same also, because I was thinking of myself, and I remember like when one of my seasons where I was really struggling with depression, like on the outside it looked like my dishes weren't done, and it took so much mental load to like, okay, this needs to get done or that, but there was an underlying layer. It wasn't that I was just lazy. It was like there was stuff going on emotionally that it was so exhausting to think, to like do tasks, to like take care of myself even. So I do agree 100%. Like sometimes we think, and I even like take mental health out of it. Like sometimes we're vitamin deficient, and it's like you actually don't have vitamin whatever, and that's also like causing you to be sloth and just not feel like you're waking up with like to like get things done. Like you're just like it'll get there when it gets there.
So Devin, that's a good point. It you know, it's the slothfulness could be an indicator of something else. So it's like, even if you're experiencing that in a relationship, like if you're in a relationship with someone and you notice they're being slothful in another area of your relationship, instead of just like attacking that thing, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, like, okay, what's the cause of it? And so that, I think that's a good point to look at it as more of an indicator of something else. Yeah.
So like,
or a symptom rather.
yeah, definitely slothfulness, or I guess what appears to be laziness, can be a symptom. But it's just like, okay, I think about, you know, different times when I've not quite had the capacity to do the stuff that I've wanted to do, which is basically all the time. You know, like, you know, I already know I'm on my software development journey, right? And I try to set my life in a certain way. Now, this is kind of outside of my relationship, but like, how do we recover? How do we generate this energy to jump back into the things that we know are good for us to do? Like, how do we do that?
Ooh, I mean, when you say good to do, like, give me an example. Give me an example.
Right. So I'll throw myself on the table, right? So I am trying to balance getting good sleep with also exercising, with also, you know, working in a good amount of time to do software development stuff, and also date nights, also keep the house clean, also cook, right? So I mean, that's a lot. So maybe I'm putting a lot on the table right there. But like, let's say we just wanted to exercise. That was the one thing. We wanted to exercise together. Knowing it's good to do, but maybe we're too occupied to like actually like instinctively do it. Like, how do we generate the energy to overcome those, I guess, inner barriers to do some, just an example, exercise? Like,
And see, I was gonna say you should be able to speak to that because you've been really good at getting back on your goals, and you've been very like dedicated and committed. So that's the first thing I was thinking about. So like, how did you get back to that when you didn't feel like it?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to sound very like motivational empowerment speaker of me, but it's like going back to your why. Like my why was, I'm about to be 37. I'm going to a wedding in Jamaica. I don't want to be fat anymore. Like, and I'm just keeping it 100 with you. Like,
for sure.
I'm like, yo, I want to make sure, we got stairs in our house. I want to make sure I'm able to run after my, like that was my why. And I had a why before, but it's just more intense now or whatnot. So especially in the relationship that you have with your spouse, and just, I was just thinking as you were talking, there are some things that I would probably do was maybe like put reminders in your phone or put up like, I don't know who you like, maybe like Tiana Taylor abs or something like that. Like your wife wants Tiana Taylor and you want a body like, Creed. You know what I mean? Like that, like as that motivation. Don't put it in your phone or anything like that. But just put a picture up and just make that time. Because what I'm going through right now is like, I want to spend more time with my family, but I also like I have to, because I'm all in or I'm all out, like with a lot of things in life. And so I'm all in with the gym, and Jasmine's very supportive, but I also go at like 11 o'clock at night, and it takes me like 2 hours, and it's just a lot. It's just a lot. And so I go back to being intentional with, this is what I said I'm going to do, and that's what you have to go back to. You have to go back to, you know what I mean? And you got to have an accountability part. Like your wife, my wife, we get on each other and accountability, because she's like, Zob, you said that you wanted to do this. You said that you want to lose weight. You said you was going to go 5 days a week. And I was like, I don't want to go today. And she's like, yeah. So, just being super intentional and getting that accountability, even if it's like one of the bros, you know what I mean? Like, hey, bro, did you go to the gym today? All right, check in. Send me a picture when you get there, bro. Like, so I'll know that you made it there. That's always going to be a good help. So you're not doing it on your own, because none of us are supposed to do life alone.
I was just thinking about, I was sitting here thinking, like, why is slothfulness, extreme laziness is not productive, it's not helpful. Like, it's not, you're not going to bear any fruit from it. But I was thinking, like, why is it even one of the 7, right? And I was thinking that about, recently I was listening to something about, like, miracles. Oh, I know, it was like Sabbath school. And just thinking about, like, the miracles that we know about from the Bible, and the times where Jesus, like those who experienced a miracle, like with healing or something like that, there was an action that they were supposed to do. And in order for them to receive like their blessing, it could have been something very small. Even if it was listening to something or follow, but it was usually following an instruction which required an action. Right. And so slothfulness is the opposite of acting, even faith without works. Like, you have to do something. And so if you're being extremely lazy and unproductive, I could see why that would be like on the list of things that we need to make sure we're being mindful of and not do, because you are functioning oppositionally to how, like, God's purpose for us, which is put in the work so that you can bear fruit, so that you can be a productive contributor to the kingdom of God. So that, I was just wondering, like, why, like, wrath is very easy to identify, envy, greed, but then it's like slothfulness, like, it's easy for me, I guess, to see from a humanistic perspective why laziness is an issue, but why at the next level, like on a spiritual level, why is that a problem?
I was thinking of, I don't know if you guys have seen on Instagram, but it's like procrastination is the audacity to think God would give you another chance at what he told you to do today. And I think that when you were talking, that's what popped in my mind, because I was like, yeah, like, it's audacious to think, like, if I don't get it done today, like, oh, if I don't plan a date night with my wife, like, God, time is borrowed. Like, do you not know if, like, this is your wife's last week alive? Like, that's so dramatic to say, but it's like, you just never know what will happen. So it's like procrastinating and being like, oh, we can put it off. I can clean later. I can whatever. Like, who promised you later?
Right.
That's what I thought of.
I did think of that as well. But what I also remembered, okay, let's say a plane is taking off to go to wherever, Europe, right? And it has to be on target. But if it's like 1 degree off, it'll end up hundreds of miles away from where it's supposed to be, right? So imagine if little pieces of effort that are not taken, how far we'll be from where we're supposed to be or where God wants us to be in 5 years, 10 years, let's say, right? It's small decisions that, we'll out of laziness say, I'm not going to do that today. And do that enough times. Now you're way off track.
Right.
And maybe there's an assignment God is preparing you for in that 10 years. And you'll be nowhere near ready if you're not acting on what he's given, right?
I like that. I saw a post and it was, a content creator. She was like, get started with whatever God has told you to do in October. You have 3 months, give or take, whenever you watch the video, you have 3 months in order to get that thing done. So it's like January 1st, you're not having your vision board party and dang, what am I going to do? It's like, no, God has already, what it is that you're supposed to do. And that was very comforting for me. I would say because, I believe that if someone thinks January 1st is the first of the new year and that's when they want to get started, I think there's nothing wrong with that. But are we dragging our feet October, November, December? Because, because it's like two things can be true. We could be dragging our feet, but then life is really busy. Around the holiday times, everybody's having a holiday party, a potluck, an event. We're getting ready to travel, so on and so forth. So I just want to encourage everybody watching that whenever you watch this video, put in the time right now. Do not wait till January 1st. We don't have to wait. We can get to it.
For sure.
I keep hearing DJ Khaled's voice in my head. Put in that work, Devin.
Yeah.
Put in that.
Yeah, no, legit.
Yeah. I don't remember which motivational speaker or whoever said this. Like he or a CEO, he put his company goals in these, like, instead of yearly goals, he does quarterly goals, right? So when you shorten the timeline, I think effort is almost like, say, the air. It will fill whatever container it's in, right? So if you say, I have a week to do this, you'll probably get it done in a week.
Yeah.
If you say you have 3 months to do it, it'll probably take you 3 months.
And if you don't have a deadline, you're always going to push it off.
Yeah.
Yep. Facts.
That's good.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need that good kick.
Yeah.
Like whatever that might be.
Seriously.
So what are y'all sleeping on?
Ooh, good question.
Dun,
I
dun,
was
dun.
sleeping on school, like registering for school. There were a lot of just things. I mean, and it was realistic things. Like I had a job that I had time, but I didn't have enough money. Then I had a job that I had plenty of money, but my schedule was crazy and I didn't have the time. So it was a goal of mine, like at the beginning of 2024. I know I shouldn't have given myself a year, but like I did. And I was like, I need to change jobs and I need to have a job where it's conducive to me being in school and having enough money that I can go to school. So I finally did that. Like I changed jobs in the summer. I'm making salary, so I'm not contingent, like my paycheck is not contingent on 40 hours versus 35. Like it doesn't matter. And like I'm registering for school. So like that was what I was putting off, but I'm working on it now. But yeah, I put that off for a while.
So spring semester, you started?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like registering in November, December, and then starting in January.
Awesome.
Yes.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. I don't want the internet's all in my business. However, I have a couple of things that I'm working on, and I actually just shared with Zav last night that I'm not proud of the fact that when I kind of look back at some of the things that I've done or wanted to do, I haven't finished. So I'm focusing on finishing a couple of things that I've started, and I'm excited about it. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm just, in the same vein, just pushing through double consciousness. Like I know it may look like on the outside like I'm doing this, that, and the third, but it's like a daily fight to push past, like, am I good enough? Double consciousness, imposter syndrome, whatever the case may be. But then I get there and I'm like, oh, God has purposed me for this, right? So, mentally strengthening myself and my mind, my body, just everything about me in order to do the work that God has for me.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think for me, what I have going on is kind of like what you and you both have going on. So like I'm working on what I just came to me, unpoisoning the well. So like when you might have the capacity to do something today, but your mindset approaching it will either give you the energy or take it away. Because like as I'm trying to change professions, but I'm also kind of sort of wanting to change my current job to make the next, I guess, 6 to 8 months easier because, I got other things going on. But I kind of want to work from home, so I'm trying to see if there's like a pharmacy position that I can get. But I keep looking at them, and I'm just like, oh, I don't have this experience. I don't have that experience. And then what instead of applying for that point, I start scrolling on my phone because I'm like, I don't have this. But then I kind of rip myself out of it because a friend of mine, worship leader at Fondren SDA Church, Raquel McCarter, great woman of God. She said, are you doubting what God can do in, because God can do anything, right? So that yanked me kind of out of that. So I spent the next 7 hours, like late at night, just like did like 10 applications. Did I hear back from them? Not yet.
Okay.
But hey, it pushed me forward.
Yeah.
But then also I like to sometimes start things or like think about starting things and like burn myself with all these different cool things I want to do. I'm working on picking one, kind of like bringing it forward. So at least I can knock it down one by one,
right?
Or in phases, because you can do everything. It doesn't all have to be today,
right? You
can pick one and, kind of eat the elephant one bite at a time, as it were, rather than trying to eat 5 elephants at the same time.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, take us home.
Well, thank you for joining, and we will see you on the next episode of Cold Yellow Podcast. We love you guys. Yeah. Subscribe. We're still on the road, so subscribe.
And as always, be responsibly.
Yes.
See you next time.
Peace.